Oh, you are indeed first. Welcome. A little late in getting started. We're trying to keep an eye on Sherbet. It's hard to tell if he's just playing up a bruised elbow or if there's something more to it. He has been heavily bribed and is currently in the play area box. He went there of his own volition, so it's not like he hasn't moved. As part of the scuffle of checking on him, you can see that one of the curtains is misaligned. I think looks like it's just Mason at the moment, but anywho. We're going to be continuing our coding project today. We'll see how far along with the idea of actually moving the code over to new structures is going to work, or how long it's going to last. Since that kind of thing tends to change pretty quickly in these streams. Hey there, Kebo. That's actually a good thing. Let me test that. Don't think. Oh, there it goes. Okay, the second line I still have to work on. Let me fix that. No, it works for moderators. All right. We might. Yeah, on Twitch, it's kind of a hassle how it works, so I may change. Yeah, we're gonna change some stuff real quick here. It's very fiddly how it wants to work on Twitch, because simultaneous messages don't go in a fixed order on Twitch. Hey there, Danja. And then fixing my chatbot. We're doing well, Danja. We're doing well. Dampa. Okay, getting some letters transposed there. Sorry, Dampa. We are getting the chatbot in place. We've had we've had a couple of situations that we want to make sure it's clear if we mention it to somebody. I know in YouTube chat it does pop up. In widescreen chat, it does pop up the rules before you can chat, but I don't know if we see that in tall form, and I don't know if people remember. So the moderators have a you have been warned message they can use. Oh, it's usually not a problem. Let's get this going here. Okay. So we got to a point where we can easily have lots and lots and lots of entities on the screen, moving around, being removed. Oh, that's right. We need to get them moved over to a new structure, but I also need to set up a mechanism for keeping canvas items in the, like, ready. Because if I don't do that, we run into some severe issues when lots of things are created very steadily. That might not ultimately be necessary, since we might not be creating enough things at once. But my fear is late game with a lot of weapons going that we might cross the threshold that a whole lot of things are being made and removed at the same time. And that can be an issue. I can also mitigate it down by saying that, like, only one entity can be removed per physics frame kind of thing. We could try that. And hey there, fan. If we go down to here, where's our remove? So we had removed this free the canvas item. And the shape, since these seem to be non-trivial in cost. But if we go in and say, instead during our movement logic, okay, we have the things to remove, and then for thing and things to remove. Let's do if things to delete size is greater than 0. We won't clear it. Test thing. I want to see, yeah, some, effectively some garbage collection. The trick is the type of garbage collection we're dealing with, the thing is expensive to make, as far as system resources, so I don't want to get rid of it unless I have to. Okay, so each physics frame, we're only removing the first thing that's been flagged. And what we'll do is we're going to create a whole bunch of things, 50 at a time. And then we're going to proceed to run off the side of the screen. Okay, they are not being removed. That's not right. Okay, we've got a thing. So, thing to remove is identified. Here, and we pop at. So, things to delete is now gone. But we're not getting collisions with the blobs anymore. Why don't that work? Well, I'm not a big fan of mushrooms. Let's check where the cats are. Trying to keep an eye on Sherbet. Yeah, not a big fan of mushrooms myself. They have all vacated. Well, that's no good. Get a thing. We go into thing to remove. So things is 3042, and now it has 3042. Oh. This is fun. This is a different reference. That's a different reference. No, it's still not identifying them. Because it's not finding it when I tell it to erase it. Nine two two three three seven. Yeah. Let's simplify the test. May spawn one blob. So we should now be able to see the entire collection of things. Okay. Things contains that. And it has been removed. Hey there, dude. Why are there two things being created each time? Still working on our game. It's going to be 0 and 1, isn't it? Hard to quantify. I is 0. Just 1. Things.size is 0 still. because we just popped one. I can show you the whole of it. Something's not working just yet here, but I'm trying to figure out why it's behaving the way it is. Okay, we have added one thing. We just added another, because that one was immediately removed. Once. Twice. Why did it get deleted twice? Okay, things to delete. We have a thing to delete. Still 922337. Why is it always 922337? Yeah, it's always this. This is removing the actual thing. This is removing it from the collection. A better way to... Hey there, pause. All right, let's get the next one. It go away. Once, twice. Wait. I bet it's this. I bet it's this. Okay, we have collided. So we're going to add the local thing to things to delete. We get a physics step. We remove it. We immediately collide again because it just exited. That's why it do. Yeah, you can see with Sherbet hopping by there, he's limping a little bit. I want to keep an eye on that. If it goes away tonight, great. If it doesn't, I got to run him into the vet in the morning. Or if it worsens tonight, you know. So... Find local thing. Greater than or equal to 0. Rather not say. It's a non-trivial number. I did this last time I tried this. Okay. Wait. Okay, no, that won't work. That won't work. This collision has already occurred, and we've already removed it, but it still has information about it. If okay, if a thing exists, I don't like doing this. This is a nasty linear search for the most part. But the thing should cease to exist once, twice. That still doesn't work. Why does that not work? Now, it's not 100% necessary to solve this, but why is this happening? Check where are the kitties here. We effectively are. Oh, I think I see what you mean. Oh, the reason that we're not doing that, you know, could we just do that? Because there is an error. Okay, yeah. So the problem is if we delete it right away, it's still going to try to find it. So we may end up deleting a shape or similar that had existed inside of the area. And as soon as we did that, the shape index isn't accurate anymore. We can get out of bounds errors. As far as with a delay, that's what we're doing. So when we add to things to delete, the next time physics comes around, like upwards of 8 times a second, that's when we get rid of them. More thing in things to delete. Oh. Sorry. It's not this. Oh, missing the keys entirely. Okay, so let's go back to removing all of them. We've spawned 1. We remove. We remove. The collision is being called twice. That's the problem. Once when I touch it, and then the second time when it gets removed, because it's first when it entered collision, and the second time when it exited collision. We do that so that objects that are overlapping can still collide. This is important if the objects are right on top of the player. Because if they're right on top of the player, a projectile would not be able to hit them without like an exit check. But that's what we're stumbling on right now, is that, what's your question? That's right. That's what we're trying to fix here, dude. because the collision happens. What we tried to do is say if the thing is still in the collection. It's not clear what that question is, pause. I mean, I'm using Godot engine and code. So this part functions. You get a general idea. You choose an engine encoding language that is appropriate to that idea. If you don't know how to determine what's appropriate, you just pick one, because at that stage you're probably just learning. And then, do some research, read some stuff, go through some tutorials, and keep trying. It won't ever be in things to delete. Oh, no, let's see here. Okay, so here's the issue. It happens over the course of 2 physics frames. So in the first frame, it enters. And we record that and say, okay, add it to deletion. The next frame comes around. We delete it. Movement happens. Oh, I'm sorry, we delete it. Then, when it's calculating that frame, as it's calculating that frame, it says, oh, a shape exited. The area that is the critter detection exited. This area will still always collide. What we want is that local thing to go away, but the shape index is still a thing. And so it'll still try to find something. Let's go into the second one here. I think what's happening is coincidence. So the first time we come in, our local thing and shape index, our shape index is 0. There's one shape in the collision zone. And our local thing is 922.337. I would love for that. The trick that we're running into here is that the thing itself doesn't know that it's collided and can't remove itself fully. Now, it could remove itself from the collection by sending like an event, like a signal that something reacts to. So I could tell it, delete yourself. This is the problem, though. When we have local shape RID, we're getting the shape. What we're actually trying to do is say, well, I don't need the shape. I have the index, and the index should always line up. I have not paused. This is the first one. What I could do is go through and say, do any of the things have this shape RID? If they do, then that's the one that we want. So you can do for I in things size R. Get a local thing. I could also do for thing and things. Yeah, let's do that. If thing dot shape RID is the same as local shape RID. Now, I can't do a dictionary, really, because of the index. So a collision area has a series of shapes. And once it's part of the collision area, it only cares about the index. It ceases to have like an identifier. And this is important because I can remove the thing from my list of things, but then I have to update the indices of all of those things, because when they get removed, I have to do this. If this index isn't aligned, like if my collection of things does not align in sequence with the collection of shapes, it gets out of sync. I have to get the shapes by ID. Now, I could go through and iterate on them and restore it that way. I could get every shape and say, like, okay, here's the first one. This is your new ID. We could ultimately do that. But right now, this is functioning the way that we want. Yes, that's going to be terribly less efficient, Tess. Because it needs to iterate over every one. But actually, here. We get a local thing. If local thing dot shape RID is the same as local shape RID, sorry, yeah, local shape RID. Okay. We have asked the server to say, the physics server, what shape did I collide with? Then we take the thing out of our collection that corresponds to that shape index and say, does this match? Let's see if that works. Let's reload it. We'll tell right away if a collision double happens, then it's still not working. First time. Second time. Okay. It's reusing the shape index. And it would use the shape index. I'm sorry, the shape ID. This is getting reused. We need a way to know that the object can't collide anymore. We could tell the area to stop colliding for a split second, but that leaves us wide open to issues with fast-moving objects. We need that collision to be identified as soon as possible. So how can we differentiate that? Because this will eat two arbitrary entities. If one gets created right after the first one, then we have a problem. We could call deferred. Well, that'll still make it arbitrary, though. We can't be sure exactly when that's going to happen. Thread safety is a real problem if we call deferred. So, let me fully describe what's going on here. So, I bump into the entity. And I say, okay. Oh. Okay, no. So, I touch the entity. We go in, we have a collision. I say, okay, I found a thing that is associated with that collision. Get ready to remove it. I create a list of them. Quite a while, pause. Quite a while. It's always been something I wanted to try but never really started. So I add it to a thing. This is in the physics. This is part of the physics step. I think it's the last stage of the physics step is detecting collision. pausing while it reconnects. There we go. Had a bit of an OBS disconnect there. So then the next physics stage happens. At the beginning of it, we detect, hey, there were things that we queued for deletion. Let's get rid of them now. So we do. We go through, we get rid of all of them, and we clear out the collision check. We clear out the things to delete. We have deleted everything in there. This is where things get tricky, is because now we're going to add things. At the end of that physics step, we will have added a bunch of entities and moved them. A bunch of shapes to the collision zone, but it's going to result in the same thing. Now, we go through and say, like, okay, that shape that was right there, that blob that you touched, that shape is gone. And if the player isn't touching the overall area again, like they're not still touching it, they're not touching another blob, testing again. There we go. Wow. That was a full system fail there. There we go. All right. So again, what I want to double check here is the issue is happening in two stages. First, when the shape enters, we're getting this call out that says, hey, we're colliding with this area. This is the player area. And the shape that collided with us is the like third shape, first shape. In this case, the very first shape. So this happened. When we exit, I'm sorry, then it goes in, it says, okay, add it to the deletion collection. A physics frame passes. We get to the top, and we remove all of the things in the collision detection selection here. We clear out the things to delete. We go through, we process physics. We determine, hey, a collision with this shape has ceased to happen. So we call it again, but that shape is already gone. That object has already been removed. So we're going to remove that shape from the first shape being removed from collision removes the new shape that was immediately added, because it's going to have the same ID. It's going to have the same index, and that will be the only one in there. That's why we're getting the double removal. We need to have the on shape exited, but we don't want it to happen for the same entity. We want some way of determining that it's a different thing that came in. And we can't tell that based entirely on RIDs and indices. That's our problem surface. That's where we're having that. That's Sherbet. I'm concerned that he has hurt one of his forelegs. It's hard to tell with him. He kind of gives off very exaggerated panic and injury signs, but it does seem to at least be sore. Like one of his forward elbow joints, the knee joint or whatever it is, seems to be sore in some way. So keeping an eye on him. The fact that he's laying there in that box says he's probably pretty uncomfortable. He normally wouldn't sit out in that box as much. So if it worsens, or if it's still there in the morning, I'm taking him to the vet. So how can we identify that the collision happened on a shape that is actually still there? Unsure. He's probably on the bed there, Pause. Usually where Mason will go during stream is up onto the bed, or in some fashion, maybe under the bed. We actually need exit. Is there another event that we could use? We by the time we add new blobs, things to delete is already empty. So we remove all the things and things to delete. Now we add things. Oh. Oh, let's add blobs. Yeah. Yeah, move it after. Now, this will mean that there's a small gap in the spawn period, but I think that's still okay. Oh. Huh. Okay. Okay, so we call into things to remove because we have a thing to remove. Really would have wanted this, but... Yeah, we've got a low level exception here. Okay, so in thing, we have it is the first entity, and it is 323411. So I call the code that pulls the shape out. This is going to trigger the shape exit on the next physics frame. So then I remove that from the things collection. Things collection is now empty. Now I'm going to adjust them, but there's none to adjust for ID. I haven't removed one, so I don't need to essentially slide the indices down. I could make the slide the indices thing more efficient by starting at the index of the removed one, but we're not gonna. Yet. We remove that. Okay, so now the list of things is empty. So we don't move on it. We don't have we don't have a screen update process. We come back around. We have our shape exit. We go in. We're going to say, give me the local shape RID. And it explodes because it's gone. There isn't one for that index. Oh, no. Okay, so that was a good idea. That was a good that was a good thought to go down. But this is the index of the original entity. At the time of removing the shape is when that happens. So what if we're gonna if we move this to the frame and out of the physics frame? I think the same thing might happen. Yep. Okay. How we do? How we fix this? This is an edge case that will absolutely happen. So removing the shape will cause a physics check, which will say that that shape exited. And we can't be sure during the... We could be sure during a physics check that a particular local index has been marked for death. Because it's during the removal that we have the problem. Like, if I had to guess, let me see if we can spot exactly when it happens. Oh, that won't work. 1 second. That is that is not definitive. We need an indication of the exact sequence of events here. Okay, this should work. Okay, we touch the blob. We get shape entered. Now, we are removing the blob. It's not related to the spawn numbers. Even if I make it so that there are... Like, I could set this to be 1,000. The problem being that still creates the risk surface that I grab an invalid one. All that needs to happen is that I stop colliding with the whole area as soon as this happens. In fact, I think it may have been happening before, but we've got to verify here. So I have cleared the rendering. I'm now removing the shape. Okay, it's not immediately. That's unfortunate. It is next physics frame. So our issue becomes if we add the things first and then remove the things. I have potentially created a situation where the one that I have added is not in the collection. This gives us the hard crash. If I remove the things and then add the things, I've created the situation where if I have added a new thing since then, it is possible. Well, I'm sorry. If I add something immediately after removing it, then I get an issue with there is an index in the spot that I just removed. Like, with certainty, if I actually add anything after I remove a thing, it is a distinct possibility that the next that removed collision targets something in that spot. Hey there, Drew. And it's that index that is tripping us up. We can't even say that index. Can't even say that that index can't be reused at that point. We can't just say that index already got hit. And since these are happening on separate physics frames, the things are already removed. What if... Can we remove it off? So let's make a... Oh, explodes. They do. So the structure that we're dealing with is we have a pair of lists. And I'm doing what I can to keep those lists in sequence so that I don't have to completely search the list and rebuild it every time on my side. When I add an entity, I'm adding a shape to a array that is first in, first out. So I'm always appending to the list at the end. But if I remove from that list, at any position, it slides them down. There's never an empty spot or anything like that. It is a ordered array. It is a array that always is appended to at the end. So if I pop from the middle, everything that had an index that was greater than the one that was popped slides down one slot. What I'm saying really is that I can't not append. Like, that's not an option. That is not something that I chose to do. If I add a thing, it is, I tell the area, I tell the collision zone, here is a shape, and it adds it to the end of that list. I can't control where it adds it or what its index will be. So if I remove it and there isn't one in its place, when that exit comes around, it will explode. Now, we can mitigate the explosion. I can stop the explosion by saying, hey, if there are no shapes, I can ask it, are there shapes? And that will prevent the edge case that we saw with post-deleting, where I had deleted the only one that existed. And by the time the next physics frame comes around, we run into that issue. But that doesn't protect me if I am pre-deleting, where I have... Sorry, if I post-delete, then I can say, first add the things if possible. Any better now? That's our problem, really, is that I can't determine, like, there's nothing about a created shape that tells me that it's not about to get removed. This might be where... This might be where we need to recycle shapes. If I remove a shape from the area, and then it goes into a bin, so it's not in the area anymore, it will trigger the exit. But the shape that it has will never be the new thing unless I have used up the entire pool of deleted shapes. Right. So then if I need a new shape and the discard pile is not empty, I will pull it from the discard. Well, no, I'm sorry. If the discard pile is not full, I will pull a new one and use that. If I remove a shape, I put it on the discard pile. and we do a first in, first out. We do a queue. So that if I say there can only be a number of shapes equal to the spawn limit, I will use that shape and set its position. Yeah, like that. What that should do is let us have the, hey, is the shape ID the same? Because unless we manage to do a full, okay, in theory that would work. We do need to handle an edge case if everything is removed. Can I... Let me just check. Maybe that's still something we want to do, Tass. Hey there, Chow and Cat. We would normally change the camera around to target different ones, but we almost never have a cat in this area for the camera, and we're trying to keep an eye on that particular cat. Like, I still want to have the discard pile. But let's say we delete everything in the pool. What if... things.size is greater than 0. Okay, here's the safety check. Why is my audio flaking? And that will never happen, Chow. This way, if we don't have any things, that means there are no shapes. Don't do a collision. Okay, that should save us on that front. So now what we want is a pool of canvas and physics items. Call it shape pool. Oh, okay. And we're going to put it in globals. And then we're going to add a canvas pool. Put that in globals. Okay, intent of these objects is so that we can have a array of shapes and canvas items that if we go to create one, then we're going to ask it, give me a shape. If the pool is not full, it will just create a new one and return that. If the pool is full, then we will add another to it. If we receive a new thing being removed, if we say, hey, I'm done with this shape, we're going to do one of two things. We're going to put it in the pile, or we're going to remove it at that time. But it's the creation that we're keeping track of. Okay. I think it has to extend node. Nope, it doesn't. Good. Wait. Okay, it has to inherit node. That's not a terrible cost. It is a shape pool. What did we do? Okay, no, we don't need a class name on it. Is an array of RIDs. Complain, but so this is the one that's going to interact with the physics server as far as add and remove a shape. The object itself can mess with the shape, but this is the one that will create it. We can add this to constants later, but don't want to reuse the shape until we hit a limit. Let's just put it at 1,000. If we have 1,000 collisions at once, we've got a problem. I can always make that number bigger if we do run into that problem. If pool. Hey there, Ian. Size is greater than or equal to pool limit. Shape pool. Up. Front. Okay, that will return it. Good. This is not super fast. This is very slow. into our... agent. We will need to use hello Mason. Hello. Okay, this is a wrinkle here. Right now we're using nothing but rectangles and circles. Will it let me get away with this? It won't. Don't think it's intrinsically... I think this is intrinsically by reference. Switch. How about a case? There might be something. This is a... type, which is a... pool is equal to rectangle shape pool. If shape type is equal to circle, set that down pretty low just in case. is equal to... We're not using circles just yet, but I want to have it ready to roll. Type rectangle. Okay, then I'll have to check and see if there is a node destruction call here. Shape type. RIDs. Oh, thank you, Chow. Pool is array RID. Shape pool, and we're going to call get shape pool. Shape pool with shape type called in. Two. So okay, so what we're doing is we are getting something out of here that we're setting up something that will create a list of shapes for us. We want to make it so that we're sure that the next shape ID that comes out of the system is not one that we just deleted. Yeah. We need to make sure if the shape pool is... Oh. But no. Well, we'll get to that thought in just a moment. Okay. So I have a pool of shapes. Every time I remove one, I throw it in the pile. Oh, but I'm not releasing it. I'm not releasing it. That's the trick. That's the trick. Okay. If I was releasing it, I could create a new one and get the one that I just released. But I'm not going to release it. I'm going to keep it in a pool until the pool is full. Yes. So if we're at the pool limit, we're going to say, give me the first one. Give me the oldest one. So we're going to call the physics server to release it. It's okay that we remove the shape from the area. Array of RIDs is equal to get shape pool shape type. Okay. So the life cycle should now be, when I need a shape, I'm going to call the shape pool and say, get me one. We could call this a factory. Should probably call it a factory. But it's acting as a pool, so I declare it shall be pool. Oh, well, we can see Mason has found something to play with, and Sammy is interested in what he is playing with. It might be one of those little mice that it's a little cloth mouse. They're not terribly durable, but I have a little Tupperware of catnip, and I will toss fabric toys in there, shake it up a little, and then keep them there so they sort of stew in the juices before I give it to them. If they wreck a toy, I will, throw that one out and replace it. Toss a new one out there. Since it's saturated with catnip, for quite a while, it will have that kind of smell and flavor. And after a bit, they still like it because it was something that they already interacted with extensively. Okay, so we get a shape. We determine which pool it is based on the shape that we want. Is it a rectangle or a circle? Everything that we're dealing with right now is a rectangle. I have seen discussion as to whether rectangles or circles are more efficient for raw collision in Godot. I don't know which actually is. Art, we are making a game. Right now, what we're working on is making the shape creation and removal less explodey, because we found an edge case that is very likely to happen if we don't do this. So if we want one, we're going to ask it if the pool is full, we're going to give you the oldest shape from the pool. If the pool is not full, we're going to make a new one. We're making a Vampire Survivor style game. So, character in the center, firing projectiles wildly, monsters swarming in. we've had to kind of revisit some core concepts like rendering and collision to make them more efficient. And that's what we're doing. That's part of what we're doing here. So then if I go in here, we are going to do... Well, thanks, Art. We've been working on it for a bit. If you want to see some of the early stuff, we've got the entire thing logged on my YouTube channel. Otherwise, I do this very regularly during the week. This is most of what I'm streaming. We will occasionally slide games in there, but we do a lot of coding for the game. Shape pool. Spape. Pool. Shape type. Rectangle. And shape resource identifier. Then get a shape. We asked to create the shape. Okay. Hey, I mean, books are their own sort of narrative experience, and frankly, there are a lot of games out there that have a core gameplay as a narrative experience. Just that they incorporate, visuals and some degree of player agency, and that might just be walking around the environment, clicking on things, But I like me some books. I primarily read a lot of light novels lately. So we add the shape to the area that we want to interact with. And when we're releasing it here, we remove it from the area. But that doesn't get rid of the shape. We're putting it here first. Does it explode? Created one. We touch it. It creates another one. Okay, we've already got the shape pool working. Stress test time. Put our game. Give me 1,000 blobs, 50 at a time. Okay. I think is working. Now, one thing that we could do for the shape pool is that as soon as the pool is full, it's now going to seek to empty itself out. Say pool. Okay, so if we're telling it to empty out, then we're going to start doing this. And we're going to say, we're going to call this should empty. What's that? Return a bool. For now, we're just going to empty out and shape type. It's an array of RIDs is equal to get shape pool shape type. Hey there, King. And pool size is greater than 0. Out is equal to empty out in this return empty out. Okay, so normally we shouldn't empty out. No. I mean, in theory, it's a sprite game, Heart, so I could, add visual jiggle to the blob creatures. Oh, where is Sherbet gone? Keep Sherbet on camera. Need to keep an eye on him since his leg has been hurting. I'm partial to pixels. Those are the games that I, first played. We are creating a pool of physics shape objects so that we don't reuse one right after deleting it, resulting in a double deletion of an object. So we're going to check if we should empty it. we should empty the pool, then we're going to start popping the front of it. Okay. It's going to be a long line. The shape size is greater than or equal to the pool limit. Or should empty in shape pool.size is greater than 0. So we should be emptying it if we've already set to empty out, and we've still got things in the pool, or the size is greater than the pool limit. I hate such a long line. So we don't need should empty. So let's double check this. Yeah. In general, I think the presentation of the tools you use to present a game should convey what you intend them to convey. If that means you are using super high fidelity graphics, or whether you're using highly abstracted pixel graphics, if they accomplish their goal, then great. If they don't, then it doesn't matter how crunchy your pixels or how ridiculous high poly count your models are. They're doing it wrong. Okay, so if should empty shape type, then we're going to use that one. This way we flush the pool out anytime that happens. This will mean that we are very prone to creating new shapes up until the limit. So that we're not doing an every other. If we said it was full, and so we should empty, that means that at most we're going to get to a point where instead of blobs, we're probably going to have various degrees. First, we're going to have various degrees of probably houses and then people. And then it will move on to more military-style people of increasing severity. The blobs will show up as a secondary scenario. Like, they can show up, but they won't be static enemies. They won't be part of the normal list. We want to minimize creating new shapes. So we want to reuse the pool. but we don't want to... yes, there is going to be the possibility of enemies firing back, but akin to the nature of a Civ Spearman versus Tanks battle, I might just say that doesn't really happen. I want to avoid getting into full bullet hell territory. I found that if you try to combine both of those genres, bullet heaven and bullet hell, the screen gets so busy that it's really hard to play because you've got so many enemies instead of small pools of them. Do you have an issue, Isaac? If you have a request or a question, then feel free to ask it. Hey there, barbed wire. But please do not spam. We're on to a different thing, dude. So this will solve that initial problem, but I'm wondering how to make this as efficient as possible. So right now what we're saying is, well, that would fall into... Wait for it. There we go. So I request that you do not promote your own channel or other channels during the stream. If that is going to happen, it should happen organically through me. And since I'm not aware of your channel content, or the kind of fan base that you want, I would not be able to do that. And do not intend to. Hey there, Mafioso. How's everyone doing? I think we'll let it sit on this because 500 at a time shouldn't be too much of a problem. We might limit this down. Let's do 50 at a time. And we will... I could have just set that up, so we're going to do 3,000 to begin with. We are working on getting it so that we are recycling some of the blob shapes. Because what we were running into is a kind of an edge case collision where if there was one blob on the screen, or if we managed to collide with the first new blob that was created after removing a blob, then we could run into a circumstance where we either remove a blob, we do like a double collision, the first blob is removed and then the freshly added blob is also removed. Or we could get into a hard crash scenario where the first blob is removed and then the second collision happens because that blob got removed. And now we try to collide with nothing and it explodes. Because if you ask the shape area for a shape, then we have an issue. The plus side, dude, is that this thing that I'm doing with recycling the shape IDs is actually a big performance improvement, and we wanted to do this anyway. Just the fact that we need to do it now isn't the worst case scenario. So first we say if there's a thing. If there's not any things, in the background, the blob won't teleport. In the background, there is a non-visible construct that is a physics shape. And each of the blobs has one. So when the blob is done with it currently, instead of just saying, oh, get rid of it, we don't ever need this again, and we were to tell the physics server, remove that resource, then it's gone and that identifier could be used again. The identity of that shape is now back in for use. If instead of releasing it, I put it in a queue and say, don't use this again until the queue is full, then unless I have a number of collisions that happen that cause me to use up in recreations that cause me to reuse that entire queue, then I can't get that scenario. If we put you at like 500 deletions all at once is very unlikely. So what this does is it keeps any that would be deleted until there's a pool of 500 that have been deleted, that have been removed from the game. And then it will go in and say, okay, the queue is full now, so instead I'm going to use up all of the shapes in the queue. Figuring out what this number should be is kind of performance tuning. Where were we? Oh, we also need to do our we need to go into our monitors and look at our FPS. Okay, we're still holding pretty steady, even though, so you can see the number in the upper left is kind of flaking out. It's as I run north here, we can actually see it. Let us show it happening. So as I run north here, you can see the blobs spawning on the edge. There is a point past here that they're getting deleted. So that's making this number rapidly change. We have created 33,000 blobs so far. But our frames per second is still holding pretty good at like 40. So we need to kind of find those sweet spots. Next thing. So we have the shape pool here, which is to operate almost identically to another pool. Or there is another pool that will operate almost identically to it, and that is the canvas pool. Canvases are the image of the blob is drawn on a canvas. And those are a similar resource. Those are not free to create them. So I want to minimize the number of times I create a new one. To some extent. So temporarily, we're just going to pop all of this over here. We don't need a shape. We can keep the pull limit. Rid of you. We don't need you. We need to be able to create a canvas. And we go into here. So we're getting the shape. Once we've got the shape, we mess with it. We say, this is the size of the rectangle. We're going to put it into the world. This is our navigation logic. This one we can't pool because we set them to the map. I think we could actually clear it from the map. Maybe we can do that. We'll see. I don't think that's as necessary. Set our position. We load the texture. So right here, canvas item create. We don't want to do that unless we absolutely have to. Within reason. Should empty, doesn't need a shape type. Doesn't need to know the shape pool. Same logic, though. Need a shape pool. Canvas. Canvas pool. Canvas equal to create canvas. Return the canvas RID. We don't need to get the shape pool. Is rendering. Okay, so we clear it no matter what, whether we're putting it in the pool again or not. If we remove the shape from the area, then it ceases to render. I'm sorry, it ceases to have physics. It's when we remove this thing that it would stop rendering. And that's kind of part of the life cycle that we need to work with. So we're going to do canvas pool. Dot release canvas item RID, and then we do that. Okay, so I may ultimately put a shape index here so that when we release the shape, we remove it from its area. Yeah, let's do that. Then we go into our shape pool, and when we release a shape, up here, and we're going to grab this. And what? We remove it from its area. Because then we don't need to do this. We just say, you handle all of this. Okay, if we look at the monitor, we get frame rate fluctuations, but let's keep going. Upper left, in the upper left, the current entity count is the left number, and the total entities that have been created is the right side number. So we should be sitting around 3,000 to 350. It's generally going to be about like 2998 to 350, just by nature of the creation logic right now. And the right number should be going up in increments of 50. Now, we can get lower numbers in the upper left because as we are sweeping to the right, we're deleting things on the right. Okay, we look, and we're fluctuating right about 60. All right, stress test time. 4,000 blobs. Okay, we're getting little hitches there. Yeah. Yeah, we lose about half our frames per second with 4,000. Okay, the spawn limit was resulting in a whole lot of things being deleted at once when we changed that. Okay, so going up to 3,500, not so much of a problem. 4,000, we start to have a problem, and I think that might just be there's so many things in existence. Now, part of this right here is if you look, the number is changing as we stand still. That's because some of the entities are being pushed off the screen just by standing here. Like when they spawn in, some of them get shoved off the screen. Yeah. But 3,500, pretty good number. Pretty good number, I think. So let's look at our mouse spawner. And we're going to set that to... We're going to set these to 2,000. We're going to do the same spawning rate. So this is going to get much more intense, I think. Yeah. Okay, we hit some sort of critical threshold there. Okay, we need to make sure... These impacts are where it gets nastiest. All right. We're still, I think, hitting that problem scenario. Let's verify as far as removal is concerned. We're going to remove the things first. Okay, it's about 6,000 things that we've removed that were running into the issue. I do not, Tabby. Equal to pool limit divided by 2. Where is it going haywire? I wish we could still get a critical exception here. Yes, in any event, Tabby, welcome. Debug server staying open isn't helping us. but we might be able to do that with, but debug printing is very expensive. Okay. Hello, Sammy. I have not, Garrett. Well, then welcome back, Tabby. So I'm going to do shape. Another new line. Let's make sure we string that. Canvas. Canvas pool is staying at 1,000. Why is that? Like, very much staying at 1,000. We should be seeing fluctuation in it. What else are we doing with the canvas? All right, canvas item set parent. This might be part of the issue. Can we remove it? Huh. Interesting, Garrett. I think there might be some sort of problem here. Because we would still be trying to draw them. All right, Garrett. Thanks for popping through. Triangles, transforms. Can I set its parent to nothing? Will this work? That doesn't work. Do we free canvas items? Okay, so we are freeing canvas items. But the number of shapes in canvas items is not behaving the same. This is weird. Okay, we very briefly saw a flicker on that, but the fact that these numbers aren't staying in sync is weird. Okay, we have an issue here. The canvas pool is not being purged out as fast as it should be. And into debug. String. Hello, Sammy. Hello. We are never hitting that output. Why is that? We are never hitting that. Why is that? We should absolutely be calling that. Did I do something silly? Canvas create. Canvas release, yeah. Okay. Canvas item create. Well, that's part of the problem. Canvas pool. Oops. I wasn't referencing it. That would cause a problem. We were never releasing canvas items. We are still exploding, though. We are still exploding. But why? Yeah. Well, lag aside and the bug that's causing this crash. Print to debug. Into get canvas. Out of get canvas. These are staying in sync. That's good. Okay, but we have an output overflow. That's... Okay, we've exited get canvas. That's good. I think. Then into shape pool. This isn't right, though. It should be purging them all the way down. should empty. We're popping all the way. Greater than 0 as well. Let's make sure that that's in there. We're going to purge it all the way down each time. So once it hits 1000, it should go all the way back down to 0. No, it's never doing that. This is wrong. So if we have more than the pool limit, it's true. Or if we're already emptying it out and the pool size is greater than 0. Because we're only creating 100 shapes at a time. So why is that logic not working? We're creating them 50 at a time. That's going to be part of our problem. But once empty out is active, it should be staying active. Debug. Add a var. Out. If not was emptying and emptying. Kind of quiet right now. Sorry, I'm trying to puzzle this out. So we're having some sort of low-level conflict here. We append it. We've still got it. All right, let's try a little bit of a different tack with this. So if we're emptying out, we're popping the front. Every time we need one, we pop the front. So what if we just release the canvas? I'm sorry, we always append to it. And if in shape pool we do the same thing. Oh, no, we can't. We have to be able to free it. Okay, let's just not, though. Let's just not. Irrelevant. Okay, let's slow the rate. And let's limit our cap on them. We just changed two variables at once. Yeah. Same issue eventually. Let me look at those numbers again. Smaller number this time. But what I don't get is why... why we're getting that. Like, why this doesn't keep happening. Okay. Let's watch that again. So we haven't popped any. We reach a point where we're in a constant cycle of popping them. But will we reach a point where we're creating? We can never reach a point where we're creating more than we're getting rid of. I'm sorry, where we're popping more from the list than we could, because should empty should fail at that point. Because the size won't be greater than the pool limit. Okay, let's change it here. String pool.size. All right. Just for testing purposes, we're never going to pool canvases. I'm sorry, we'll pool the released ones. Okay, same problem. Let's do that with shapes. We're going to free the ones that go over limit. Hey there, Light. But we are always going to... Okay, now shapes. I've seen some games that try to do that crossover of, okay. I feel like there's got to be some sort of conflict in the array here. I have seen some kind of games that do that combination of like 3D out of nowhere, whether it is an actual model or a pre-rendered sort of thing. It can look really weird. Hey there, Yassine. Welcome. Okay, so we had something great going here, and now we don't. Where is the problem? And is there a way for us to get a crash, like an actual crash dump? Blows out, so let's go in. A visual profiler this time. Nothing apparent there. Monitors. Yeah, I'm really liking the switch over to the pure piano stuff. Very quickly fails out. This is a real puzzle. This should have saved us from this sort of issue. All right. If I think we forgot to add this one. Shape ID. Then get rid of it. Just in case. We might be having the same race condition. It's been going pretty well. Keeping an eye on Sherbet. He, oh. Hey there, Copper. Well, this is wrong. This has resulted in no collisions. But this should be true. Nope. Why can I not do this? We're keeping our eye on Sherbet throughout the stream today. He seems to have hurt his leg somehow. It's not clear to what extent. He may have just bumped it and it hurt. He was limping a little bit. So keeping my eye on him. If it gets any worse tonight, then it's emergency vet time. Otherwise, I'll try to get him into the vet in the morning. If it continues. So that's why we've been keeping the camera fixed on Sherbet there. Yeah, he jumped down from a shelf, and it really seemed like he bumped his paw, so it might have just been like, you know, a jolt or a bruise kind of thing. He is a delicate little boy. Okay. this if thing dot shape RID to local shape RID. Oh. Let's do this right. Shape RID. I was checking the area. It will never equal the local thing shape. This thing I started coding a few months ago. How long have I been coding? More than 3 years. Okay, collisions will totally happen now. Yes, yes. Okay, still hit the kill condition there. If physics server area get shape count is greater than or equal to local shape index, do the following. We're adding another layer of safety checks here, but I feel like we're still going to crash at just around 5,000 objects created. Here we go. Yep. Don't think we have the same race condition here. This is still a good check that if we don't have a thing, then don't try it. This is still a good check. Okay. Collisions will not happen. We could accelerate this a little bit, but yeah, let's accelerate this. 100 things with a spawn limit of 2,500. Okay, mouse things are being removed. We are about to approach the total number, if not exceed the total number that has caused a crash before. Should be another 1,000, I think. And those numbers in the why are the pool sizes never changing? I thought I undid that. Pool sizes are not changing, which implies... Now, it could be that the numbers are... Okay, the numbers are within 1,000, but we're still having this anomaly. All right, let's check our should empties. Okay, we will never empty the queue. Because should empty out always starts as false, so we're never going to empty the queue. Oh wait. We pretty much know it's during the collisions. We know it's not. So in test render, we have a moment during movement. Where we call remove and then we pop it. So then in thing, we call remove, which is we release the canvas and we release the shape. All things to delete, and then at the start of the physics process, we remove by thing. So we call remove and we remove that thing from the collection. And then we adjust all of the identifiers to line up with the thing size. Really wish there was a... Let me take a look at something here a moment. Folder and user data. Looking. Come on now. It's being obstinate. There's supposedly a file I might be able to look at. Okay. Is it under? Is it under? Okay. No, that's not what we want. Assets and the like. Let's see here. Here. Maybe. Nope. So again, we are looking for something that resembles a crash log, and I'm not seeing anything for that in documentation. Should be in this folder, but I'm not seeing it. So data, logs. Okay. Okay, we have leaks, but not. Okay, index out of bounds in get shape in collision. Okay, what else we got? Right, I'm going to just force it to crash again really quick here, so I can get that log. and then I'll bring it up and look at it, and then we'll go from there. Yes, it's supposed to be on kitties because I'm just messing around in log files right now. Okay. Back into our logs folder. That one. Stay leaked. So they're just leaking. Okay, well. We have a collision. So we remove the things, then we add them. Removing them. Let's move this again. All right, Barbed Wire. Thanks for joining us. It's like there's some sort of race condition happening. Dampa, it's always interesting when you look at a title that you think was really recent and you remember is like, hey, that was a great new game. And you're like, oh, that came out like a decade ago. Okay. How fast can we make this happen? These numbers don't seem right, but we could be getting some multi-collisions. Okay, the more things we spawn at once, the further it gets along. Is it the spawn limit, or is it the... The higher the spawn limit, the farther it's letting us go before it explodes. Like if I set this down to 1,000... Yeah. Spawn limit is somehow contributing to this. How strange. Have anything in my logs? Okay, we just got a collision object out of range. Okay. So We're removing the shape. During the start of a physics step. And that shape ID, that shape still exists in the world, but it doesn't exist like at the time that we do the check. But if there's an out of bounds event, then it doesn't help us. Like letting that happen during the physics collision is already a problem. So again, let's... We're going to have blobs move out as well. We're going to put 3,000 of them, 100 at a time. There are collisions happening. Easier way to do this. If there is a collision, do a thing, but... no collisions. I want to see if the error that we get is the same in the log here. Kinda neat looking. So again, we're not processing any collisions at all. We should be approaching the point at which it would crash with double 3,000. I think we've already exceeded it. We've already exceeded that. Okay. Blob spawners move in. And they're entirely looking for the player. They will collide with that. Mouse spawner moves out. It collides with enemies. All right. Now let's go into our pools. Let's keep this. Say empty out is to... If we're at or exceed the pool limit, we empty them. We're processing a huge number of collisions at the moment. Get this wrong. No spawner, lives on 5, looks for 3. Lob spawner lives on 3, looks for 5. We should be reaching a critical threshold soon. Now, the change we made is that we are cycling the collection differently. Now, it could be a frame rate issue, but we should have crashed by now with double 3000. Okay. So we might have been running into some sort of race condition with the popping logic. And that we were saying clear it out, like, nope, it still failed. Spoke too soon. Let's try that with canvas items, though. Same thing. We empty out, we start emptying only if... Oh. No. Should empty. Okay. Okay, we will only remove items from the pool if it's at maximum. So it'll turn into an every other. Uh, 50 and 50. So one thing about the collisions that I wasn't thinking about as well is that the distant entity could also be a problem. Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, this is inspired by, or at least the art of the game and some of the concepts are carrying over from a Noida mod that we made when we were primarily streaming on Twitch. So we're used to super low frames per second. Okay. So what if in the collision logic right now we're saying if there are things. So that's the first. Yes, we have two different pools of entities. They are drawing from the same canvas and shape pool, but they're two different things. They can bump into each other right now. If physics server get shape of area RID is greater than or equal to area shape index. Now, so I think part of our problem is that we are getting bad collisions. Yeah. We're getting area indices out of bounds with our collisions. Oh, I think we're going to have to think on that one a little bit more. Ideally, before we come back on Saturday, I will have some more thoughts or things with this. It seems like our error, and I did find the error logs if that wasn't apparent. It seems like our error is happening because we are referencing shapes that are out of bounds, potentially during the collision process. Before we go, nothing happens when you exit a shape. No, this is in the area. This is in the collision logic. It seems like there are collisions with shapes that have already been dealt with. So we could still be having the same problem where we need to check if an actual shape still exists in the collection that the area has. But I don't know how to safely do that. Like, how do we invalidate the collisions? Okay, so we removed on exit. This should remove the double collision that can happen. We have already greatly exceeded the number that a crash should have happened at. The FPS is low enough that you can actually watch the numbers update in the upper left. The shape numbers, the shape and canvas numbers are changing way faster than we can see them, though. Okay, it is once again our friend, the double collision. Because by the time we check that second collision... I know, right, Captain? I think we got past it. We've created 40,000 things and it hasn't exploded yet. But now that I've said that, it's probably going to explode. Just to make me look like a fool. Game be rude like that. Okay, it is our friend the double collision again. Okay, so let's say we do a double collision. We need to know that this guy is still a valid shape. So we could do this again first. Let's get shape count of local area RID is greater than local shape index. Yep. Do that. Okay. If there are things at all, if the index is still within bounds. Now, I don't like this. That implies to me that we are getting a bad one, but let's see if it still explodes. We are double checking to make sure that the local area that we're operating on is still present. I think we might need to remove the second collision anyway, because we are getting double events. Okay, now lower FPS could still be leading us into a scenario where it's cleaned up. Bear in mind, we're 3,000 objects more than the critical threshold for FPS dropping to half. At about 3,500, we dropped to 30 frames per second. So we're suffering on that front. And then the more objects, the more collisions there are, which makes our physics frame more expensive. Just going to let this run a little bit more. The secondary ring that you're seeing inside is the spawn limit being hit. This is another one of those this should never ever happen kind of scenarios. With monsters, it's less of an issue, because if we have too many of them, that means the screen is full and you're already dead. Like, we could cap that at 1,000 and it wouldn't really matter, as long as we have logic to make it so that the old ones start getting cleared out for the next waves. Yeah. Okay, we needed another safety check, where we don't want to try to get an area if we know that it's going to be out of bounds. What that should mean is that we still have that double collision biting us, though. So this is a safety check, but the very fact that this is happening and that this check could end up being invoked is we could create enough entities in between this happening that we still get our faulty check. But this should save us. That should save us. Okay. So we didn't do anything like we said we were going to do, but the progress that we made was that we added the pooling logic. This helps us preserve some performance. In fact, let's go back to this, where we are constantly trying to empty the pool, but we're constantly adding to it as well. Canvas pool. Yes, okay. Okay, this should make those numbers in the lower left, the lower two numbers, a little more frantic starting about now. And that we are trying to remove the first thing from the queue at the same time that we're adding things to the queue. So we're appending to the end, we're deleting from the front. I feel like it has improved our performance a bit. Since we're not constantly recreating things. In the prior model where we said if we were at limit, give me the first one, that generally made it so every other one still had to create another thing. This way, what we're saying is use the queue as fast as you can. Once you hit a threshold, it tries to use the queue. If the queue ever empties out, it will resume trying to pile the queue to full first. The reason that we do that is to buffer for that. I put one in the queue and then I immediately remove it from the queue scenario. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm feeling pretty good that this is working. We'll never use this scenario because this is way too many things on the screen. This has reached that ridiculous stage. As again, we have 3,000 player bullets on the screen. Mostly on the screen right now. You can see they're heavily overlapped. And we're spawning them 100 at a time. And we have about 3,000 blobs in existence colliding with those bullets at the same time. And they're spawning in 100 at a time. And every collision removes every party involved in the collision. So this should not be happening. This should not be happening. One, the player bullets should have more of a lifespan to them. They should end before they hit, past the edge of the screen like they are. The other, we shouldn't be removing enemies so constantly. It should take multiple hits to remove them, so they should be closing in more often. So we shouldn't be getting those cycling as fast as they are. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. We have created over 100,000 objects. We haven't exploded again. So we made progress. As is tradition, we did not make progress on the thing that I said we would want to make progress on, but it is still excellent progress. Check in with the kitties one more time before we wrap up. 4 out of 5, not bad. I don't know where Sam... Oh, no. So if you look on the camera where where Sherbet and Mason are laying down, you can actually see Sammy, like part of her back on the right side of that camera. There's a little darker spot on the black blanket. All right, folks. I want to thank everybody for coming to join us today. Thank you again. If you're new and you haven't already, consider liking, commenting, subscribing if you liked what you saw, because then the algorithm will show you more things like this. And hopefully I'll see you again. Next time will be Saturday. We will pick up where we left off here. We'll start moving more stuff over. I do need to figure out a final garbage collection point. Maybe I'll find that before Saturday, so that when the objects are shut down, when the tree goes away, we don't leak our IDs. Otherwise, we will be working on porting over our mob bodies and all of that over to the entity structure that we started to create last time. So again, I hope everybody had a good time tonight, and I'll see you next time.